Hi, I'm William Spaniel. Let's learn about international relations. Today's topics are fighting for survival and peace through instability. These are a couple of theories that just came out in a book last year. You can check the video description for a link to that book and see the book for yourself. The big question we're going to be asking in this lecture is, how do retirement plans affect conflict? Remember that in the last lecture, we looked at how Democratic leader and non-Democratic leader fates differ when they quote-unquote retire, whether it's because a Democratic leader just stopped running for office, or because he was voted out of office, or a non-Democratic leader was forcefully retired in a coup opportunity or something like that. So we see that Democratic leaders very likely to be okay when they retire. 93% of them retire successfully without any serious problems, whereas non-Democratic leaders are much more likely to be exiled, jailed, or killed. That's a big problem for you if you're a non-Democratic leader, because you're living a pretty good life. You're the king of the country, more or less, and suddenly you could be thrown out of the country with perhaps not very many economic assets left over, or you could be jailed, in which case you're completely broke and you're living a very bad life, or the worst possible thing, of course, is for you to get killed. So what we're going to be looking at in this video is how this affects non-Democratic leader incentives. And to start out, I want you to imagine that you are a dictator facing a legitimate security threat. What I mean by that is that if you had a representative citizen, a citizen who is doing what the people wanted to do, then this representative citizen would actually go out and fight a war to handle this legitimate security threat. But a representative citizen is not in charge of the country. You are in charge of the country, and you're a dictator. So you have two choices. You can either go to war, or you can just settle and end up with peace. If you go to war, if you're victorious, then you've done a very good thing for your country, right? Because this is what your country would have wanted if a representative citizen was in power, and you went out and fought the war. You did what they wanted you to do, and you were successful. So good job. Good for you. Well, on the other hand, you could be defeated. And while this was something that you should have done, this is something that someone who was, again, a representative citizen of your country would have done, this still opens up coup opportunities because things go poorly for you. And if it opens up coup opportunities and one of those coups is successful, then there's a good chance that you're going to wind up exiled, jailed, or dead. All of those things are very bad for you. On the other hand, you could have peace. And if you just settle, this is not what your country would have wanted you to do, right? This is something that, again, the representative citizen would be mad at you for just settling when you should go out and face this external security threat, but you're going to be alive. This is going to guarantee your survival, and you're still going to be the dictator, and so you're still going to be living the good life. You're not going to be exiled, jailed, or killed. So congratulations. So you can see here how principal-agent problems can actually cause peace. When peace is the safe choice for me, and when war is this risky choice where it's a good thing if I win, but it's a really terrible thing if I lose, I'm actually going to prefer this disadvantageous peace to this risky war, which could end up seeing me as the dictator killed. So in this way, principal-agent problems aren't exactly a bad thing if you really want peace to be the outcome, but in fact, principal-agent problems are causing peace here and not leading to war, as you might traditionally think. So that's peace through instability, and now let's switch over to fighting for survival here. Imagine you are a dictator now, and you suspect that your military brass is plotting a coup. So in the previous case, everything was just going swell in your country, and you had this opportunity to fight a war, and you passed it up because you didn't want to change the fact that things were going swell. Here, on the other hand, things are going poorly for you. There's some military brass, and they don't really like you. They'd like to kick you out of power, take over the country, and essentially enjoy that wealth for themselves. And you know that this is happening. You know that somebody out there is doing something bad for you, and that's going to be a problem for you because, if they're successful, then you're going to be very likely to be jailed, killed, or exiled. So you have two opportunities here. First, you could declare war, and second, you could just be happy with where you are and settle with everybody and not sort of instigate a conflict with another country. If you take that second option, if you go for peace and you're not doing something that's like essentially trolling the international community, well, you're screwed, right? Because you have these other guys who are plotting this coup against you, and if you don't change something, if you don't change the status quo, then they're going to be successful and you're going to be fresh out of a job, and that's bad for you. On the other hand, you could try fighting. If you're successful, then you did a bad thing for your country, right? That accidentally turned out well. This is a war that you're essentially instigating for no reason other than for your personal benefit. If it goes successfully, then you accidentally did something good for your country, but it's still something that citizens wouldn't be pleased about. If that's the case, though, it's going to be hard for the coup to muster support because you just ended up successful and you have all of these new benefits that you can share around. For example, if you took over Kuwait and you stole a bunch of oil, now you have a bunch of oil that you can spend and give to your cronies to make sure that they are still supporting you. So you're safe in that regard now. Now, even if you're defeated, though, things aren't so bad. You did a terrible thing for your country. You went out and fought a war that was unnecessary, and you lost it. But now, if these were military guys who were plotting the coup, they're going to be really distracted because they were either fighting that war, and they perhaps died in that war, or they had to rush their coup attempt because they knew they were going to get sent out to those front lines. And so in order to actually launch the coup before that happened, they might have to take actions that they weren't quite yet prepared to do, which means if a coup is actually launched against you, it's going to be less likely to be successful. And so you can see here that in this case, when you're fighting for survival, things don't look so good for you if you just let the peace happen, and you might actually want to instigate unnecessary war. And so in this case, principal agent problems cause dictators to fight, but only when they believe that they're going to be in trouble otherwise. So there is fighting for survival and peace through instability. I hope you enjoyed this lecture, and I will see you next time. Take care.